Are you a woman experiencing abuse? Do you know a woman experiencing abuse? Help is available any time of day or night. Sheltersafe.ca is an online map that helps you find a women's shelter or transition house that meets your needs so you can live a life free from violence.
We all know it's an uncertain time as healthcare workers and the government work tirelessly to flatten the curve and find an end to the COVID-19 pandemic. And as that work happens, a boost of support from our parent company, Rogers, to some of Canada's most vulnerable women and children. One of the organizations being given a hand is Women's Shelter Canada. Joining us now is Communications and Development Manager Caitlin Geiger-Bardswich. I hope I said your name okay.
You did, yes.
Good morning, Caitlin. So talk to us, first of all, about the uptick we've been seeing around the world in both domestic violence and domestic disputes. That's been happening a lot. For some people, it might be the first time they're experiencing this.
Yeah, so we're seeing that around the world, and we're also seeing it in Canada. We're hearing from our provincial and territorial associations that call volumes are up across the country. Some places, though, are also experiencing a reduced drop in calls, which is also concerning because we're worried that women are not able to get away from an abuser to make that call to a shelter.
So, yeah, let's talk about that. How do they access information if they're in trouble? And you do mention there's the 24/7 call center. So if right now, let's say somebody watching isn't comfortable leaving, they can call for counseling, right?
Yeah, so the one of the big messages we put out there is that you don't have to live in a shelter to access the counseling and to access safety planning. So the map sheltersafe.ca puts you in touch with your local shelter and its 24/7 crisis line. A lot of those lines are also text enabled so that women can text if they don't feel comfortable making a phone call. But exactly. You don't have to move in. You don't have to know if you necessarily want to leave your relationship. You can just phone and get some guidance on what you're experiencing.
Okay, now in terms of actually going to a shelter, can they bring, as many children as they have, pets? Is it wheelchair accessible?
So that's one of the things that sheltersafe.ca shows. It'll show which shelters you're able to bring a pet right to the site, or if they have a partnership in the community for your pet to go to, which shelters have children's programming on site, and which ones are wheelchair accessible. The big problem right now, of course, is that a lot of shelters were full before the pandemic started. So they're really looking at different ways to house women maybe off site of the shelter while the increase is happening.
So if somebody right now is thinking something's off with a friend of theirs, or they might notice something seems a little bit off, what do you advise they do?
We also advise that they go on sheltersafe.ca to call their local shelter, because their local shelter will have the best advice for that situation in terms of what they should do, how they can be in contact with their friend or family member without alerting the abuser that they are aware, and what other services are available in the community that they could access.
So with the funds being allocated through our parent company, Rogers, and other people who are wanting to donate, where will those go exactly?
So one thing that Women's Shelters Canada is doing is we're distributing the federal funds to shelters across the country, and we have a sort of contingency pile of funds for those shelters where that have the most need, or where things sort of come up in the next few weeks. So any money we get to sheltersafe.ca as of March 15th will be going directly into that fund to support the most vulnerable shelters across the country.
Caitlin, you're talking to the country right now, coast to coast. What do you want to say to anybody watching who feels they're in some real danger?
We want to tell you that you're not alone, that it's definitely not your fault. That's a big thing, and that there is help out there 24/7. And if you're able to get online and go to sheltersafe.ca, you can find someone to talk to at any time.
Sheltersafe.ca, are you still looking for donations as well?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so same way to donate, sheltersafe.ca.
Yep, there's a donate button on there as well.
Great. Thank you so much. You're doing some great work. Thanks, Caitlin.
Thank you.